I warmly welcome the students of Dhananjay Rao Gadge College of Commerce, Satara, pursuing Advanced Diploma in Web Designing and Management. This is Professor Nivedita Sakwekar, and I'll be teaching you a very interesting subject, that is intellectual property rights, patents, and cyber law for your third semester. I quoted this subject as a very interesting subject for two main reasons. One is that most of you may not have come across this topic earlier, and secondly, this is personally an interesting subject for me as well. Intellectual property rights is one such word which most of you might have heard of, but may not have much idea about what all is it inclusive of. What does it mean, or why is there need to protect intellectual property? What are the various rights under intellectual property regime? How are the protections granted for all the intellectual property rights in India? And what is the worldwide scenario when it comes to intellectual property rights? You, as students of web designing and management, may be wondering as to why this subject, which seems to be a bit legal subject, a bit technical subject, is introduced to you in your third semester. This subject is introduced to you as it carries two main important reasons. First is that as you students of web designing and management will be working thoroughly on cyberspace related to computer programs, or be it database protection or data protection, protection of maybe semiconductor chips, you will be on daily basis dealing with various trademarks or various domain names or terms like unfair competition. You might be involved in working in industrial designs management or dealing with certain patents or copyrighted material. All these terms and conditions which you might have read on internet, on cyberspace, or you might have read it in any other data, you might be wondering as to how is this applicable to a student, or how is this applicable to a professional. To make sure that once you are pursuing your career in data management or in web designing or in data protection, you should not be trapped in any intellectual property issues, or you need to understand as a professional how to protect your property which you have created using your intellect. This subject has been introduced to you. So this subject will give you an idea about various intellectual property rights. In addition to it, it will help you to come across the legal provisions in India and worldwide dealing with intellectual property, as well as cyberspace, cyber crime, cyber jurisprudence, or information technology related legal issues. So without doing much of an ado, let us begin with our discussion of syllabus today. We will discuss our syllabus today to understand what all we will be conducting in our future sessions. The future sessions will be drafted in a way to give you more understanding about each and every topic in detail. Having said that, as this is our web based teaching sessions, you as students will also have to put in lot of efforts to do lot of research, lot of knowledge gaining, and making sure that you are understanding all these terms, terminologies, and whatever we discuss in the sessions using the technology as well. So as much as we will be providing you the information, the students will also have to put forth their knowledge as well. Let us begin to understand what exactly is the objective of your syllabus, what exactly is the aim of giving you this subject in your third semester. The first objective is to provide certain exposure to the students with respect to significance of intellectual property rights and the different types of intellectual properties. Also to acquaint the students with the intellectual property rights related to information technology, because we as the citizens or as students or as professionals cannot do anything without using the information technology. Taking example of the current scenario, if we did not have access to technology, we did not have access to web or to YouTube or to various apps which we are using, or to Google Meet, we would not have been able to conduct our lectures, we would not have been able to pursue with our education. And that is why information technology becomes one of the important factors. This course is also drafted to familiarize you all with the laws related to patents or to cyberspace and to other intellectual property rights, which we will discuss in our future sessions. Now, you all must be wondering as to why ma'am is using this word intellectual property rights and what does exactly it mean. To simplify it, intellectual property rights are the creations of mind, such as inventions or literary or artistic or dramatic works or designs or symbols, be it names or images, which are used in commerce. The protection to intellectual property rights is granted to earn recognition or any financial benefit from what is invented or what is created. The word intellectual property itself signifies that it is a property, it is an asset which is created using the intellect of a person. That means using the creativity, innovativeness of a person. The intellectual property right regime, which we see not only in India but throughout the world, it aims at striking a balance between the interests of the innovators and the wider public interest. To give you a small example, let's say a pharmaceutical company means a medicine making company. Let's say a pharmaceutical company has invented a vaccine for coronavirus, considering today's situation, has invented a vaccine for coronavirus. The efforts which that pharmaceutical company puts in, the R&D, that is research and development, the time, money, expertise, machinery or chemical usage which it does to create that particular invention of a medicine for or vaccination of coronavirus, that company must be rewarded for the efforts which has been put in using the intellect of its members, be it the experts, doctors or its employees. But at the same time, if that pharmaceutical company tomorrow goes out in public and says that we will sell one each vaccine dosage for, let's say, 10,000 rupees, there is no public interest involved in it, because considering the pandemic which is going on, nobody can afford, or many very few people will be able to afford a vaccine which is costing 10,000 rupees. So intellectual property rights as a regime, legal regime, is there to put in by striking a balance between the interest of the inventor, that is the pharmaceutical company, but at the same time the wider public interest must also be looked in. This system, it helps in fostering an environment in which creativity or innovation can flourish. When you talk about the history or evolution of intellectual property rights, there are many names which come forth. One is the most important organization, which is commonly known as WIPO, spelled as WIPO, which stands for World Intellectual Property Organization, which was basically established as an agency of United Nations. Now, WIPO is a prominent international organization which was established with an aim of recognizing, safeguarding, and promoting intellectual property worldwide. Another institution which you might have heard of is WTO, which stands for World Trade Organization, which from time to time has been bringing up various conventions, international agreements, and regulations for protection and promotion of intellectual property rights. To name few are your Paris Convention, Berne Convention, or TRIPS. TRIPS stands for Trade Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Rights, which has played an eminent role in bringing forth the protection related or safeguard related provisions for various intellectual property rights. So, this being the background of our syllabus, let's go ahead to understand what all, in addition to what I just explained, which we will be studying in our future sessions. Your entire syllabus predominantly is divided into four major units. The first unit, which talks about property rights introduction. So in this unit we will be going through the major intellectual property rights in detail to understand the concept, their meaning, the introduction, their history, their evolution, and in brief what exactly does each of this intellectual property signify. For example, we will go through the one of the most common intellectual property right, that is copyright, and the related rights. We will understand what are patents, how are patents granted, how the procedure for registration has to be done. We will understand the term for which patent is granted in Indian context, what is the protection provided for such inventions, what can be patented. The third intellectual property right, which we will get an idea about in our first unit, is your industrial designs. As the students of web designing and management, you will come across designs as a word more frequently. So, exactly what do you mean by industrial designs? Which industrial designs can be registered? What is the legislation or act in India which protects industrial designs? What is the duration of protection? We will be looking at it in the first unit. The fourth intellectual property right is your trademarks. This is one such word which is not only utilized a lot in your career or in your professional life, but you will be also coming across it on your daily basis. Take smallest example, the minute you get up and start working with your daily course, for example brushing your teeth, you have Colgate paste. Once you start drinking tea, you have Darjeeling tea or Tata tea. Once you are riding on your bike to go to the college, you have got Yamaha or TVS or Hero Honda. Once you enter the college and start reading certain books, for example LexisNexis. Once you start coming home, let's say in a public transport or a private transport, you have got Marco Polo. So once you go home and you start watching TV, you have got Samsung TV or you have got any other Panasonic TV. Once you start having your dinner, let's say you order it from a Pizza Hut or a Domino's, you have got these brand names. So on daily basis as well, we come across n number of names or marks which are considered to be the entire face or goodwill of that product or that company, and all these are considered to be trademarks. So we will understand in detail what are trademarks and how it's its protection granted in India. And the last concept which we will look at in the first unit is unfair competition. So what do you mean by unfair competition? What are the terminologies which are commonly used in protection of any particular business? What do you mean by monopoly? How unfair competition in India is tapered, and how what are the provisions with respect to granting any relief or penalizing any person who is engaging into unfair competition. So in our first unit, basically we will be going through only the introduction part of all these IPRs, because in our consecutive units we will be in detail studying all these IPs. For example, your second unit is framed to give you the relationship of information technology and IPR. The first topic which we will be studying, which might be interesting for web designing students, is your computer software and intellectual property. How computer software is treated as an IP, and what is the legal provisions providing protection to computer software under the Copyright Act, or be it under the patent protection if any granted. We will understand how computer software is protected as an intellectual property in India. Database and data protection comes up as your next topic. We will understand how this is provided, whether we have any specific legislation in India providing for protection to these two IPs, or what role does UK Data Protection Act or the US Safe Harbor Principle provides for data protection. In India, databases or data is predominantly considered as a copyright, and what additional protections are given under various IPs, we will be looking at it. The third point, which again forms to be an important point for management students, is your semiconductor chips. Semiconductor chips is one such intellectual property, or semiconductor integrated circuits and layout designs is another intellectual property which plays a substantial role when you try and compare it with information technology based techniques. Every information technology related machinery or IT related chips, computer chips or circuits have this as an IP in it. We will understand what is the subject matter of its protection, what does WIPO treaty talk about, how TRIPS provides protection to this semiconductor chips, and in India what is the protection granted to layout designs. Next again is somewhat similar to trademark is your domain name protection. When you talk about cyberspace or internet, trademarks are somewhat compared to domain names. What do you mean by domain name? Which are the different types of domain names? How is it considered to be intellectual property? Can you register domain name? Where can you register it, be it in India or at international forum? We will understand what are the objectives of protection of domain name. And the last topic is somewhat legal in nature, wherein we will understand what are the disputes under intellectual property rights and what are the jurisdictional issues with respect to IPR. Because let's say for example I have a website which I have launched in India, but that website can be misused not only in India but let's say in Pakistan, or let's say in Sri Lanka, or let's say in Norway, or let's say in any part of Europe. So how do you recognize as to which country will have the claim over that particular jurisdiction? And that is why we will understand what are the international jurisdictional issues. The third unit concentrates more on patent, copyright, trademark, and designs, these four being one of the top notch intellectual property rights when you talk about the commercial utilization or commercial exploitation of intellectual properties. This will give you an idea about all these four intellectual property rights with respect to the objectives of protection of these IP, what are the rights of the owner or inventor or the registered person or the transferee. With respect to the assignment or transfer, how can they be transferred or how can they be assigned. And the most important part is that in case of infringement of these intellectual property rights, what are the remedies available to the aggrieved party and what defenses can be taken up by the person who has committed such breach or infringement. These are the few terminologies which we will be studying in detail in our third unit. Our fourth unit talks about the important aspects of Cyber Law or Information Technology Act 2000. Now, the word 2000, you might find this year to be an older year. That means it's not the latest year, so to speak of. That is, it's 20 years past for this act. But this act, even today, is considered to be one of the most finely drafted legislation, not only in India but throughout the world. When we talk about cyberspace, when you talk about internet or electronic media, Information Technology Act 2000 provides a very good perspective with respect to protection of cyberspace. In this particular unit, we will talk about the cyber law basics. That means how Information Technology Act 2000 provides protection to the e-space or the cyberspace. We will understand certain legal and non-legal issues associated with Information Technology Act. The concept of technology and law, how is it associated and wonderfully brought under the IT Act 2000. We will understand the scope of cyber laws and the cyber jurisprudence. Jurisprudence basically means the logic or the ethical or moral issues involved in the cyber laws. One of the important topic which we will also study under the fourth unit is your digital contracts. Digital contracts, you might find it, the word you might find it new, but on regular basis we enter into digital contracts. You might have noticed that whenever you want to purchase anything, let's say from any website, be it Amazon, Flipkart, Firstcry, or any website, there is always one disclaimer which comes down with a tick box on the left hand side which says I agree to the terms and conditions. We never ever read the terms and conditions, I'm sure, but till the time we don't check that check box, we cannot go ahead with the transaction. The minute I click on I agree with the terms and conditions, it means that I have entered into a digital contract. This may not seem to be a very dangerous contract from implementation point of view, but it does carry some legal significance, because tomorrow if you breach that contract, there are going to be legal repercussions for that. So we will understand exactly what do you mean by digital contracts, which are the various digital contracts involved in the cyberspace, what is the essence of these digital contracts, what do you understand by digital signatures. This is again an important topic which we will study, to understand that on digital level a person cannot physically go and sign anywhere on the screen, but his approval or his assent is denominated, or rather it is quoted by using his digital signature. So Information Technology Act 2000 has introduced the concept of digital signature and electronic signature. We will understand what does digital signature mean and what role does it play in the cyberspace. The authority which grants the permission for usage of digital signatures is your certifying authority. We will understand what role and functions a certifying authority plays. An important factor, which is again a jargon and somewhat technical, is your science of cryptography. So we will understand the various methods of cryptography: symmetric, asymmetric cryptographic system, how is it involved in digital signature, how it is used in digital signatures. The next point is again an important point with respect to intellectual property issues in cyberspace. Like we said, jurisprudence, be it jurisdiction or be it ethical issues or be it any moral issues, there are so many issues involved in cyberspace with respect to or in the context of intellectual property. To give you a small example, let's say whatever movies are released, whatever songs are released, or whatever images are released, videos are published on internet, we go on downloading these images, songs, movies without even realizing the legal consequences for it. Another small example, let's say I want to understand what is copyright. I type copyright in Google and I click on images tab. The minute I click on images tab, I get thousands of images of copyright or related to C, encircled C, which is a symbol for copyrighted, registered copyright. I want to paste it somewhere on my book. I immediately copy paste or cut paste that particular image. That will signify that I have used the image of copyright, maybe with permission or without permission of its owner. What are the legal consequences of this particular cut paste or copy paste image? Can I download it without the permission of its artist or creator? All these are the issues which we don't look upon or think upon on everyday basis. So last topic of our fourth unit will give us an understanding as to what are the issues in cyberspace, especially with respect to domain names or related issues, related rights or copyright in digital media and patents in the cyber world. So all in all, your entire syllabus will give you a very good understanding about intellectual property and somewhat to certain extent the laws which are associated with intellectual property and information technology. As web designing and management students, you should be well aware of all these things, because tomorrow once you go out in your field and start your profession or your career, you will be basically in your e-space or in your cyberspace, and you will be coming across n number of intellectual property rights on daily basis. You don't want to land up yourself in any IP dispute or any IP case or any dispute in the court when you are utilizing certain softwares or designs or images or copyrighted material. And this particular syllabus will give you an idea as to how you need to safeguard yourself and your employer or your firm, so that the intellectual property rights are safeguarded and you are able to exploit your intellectual property commercially as well. So in our coming sessions, we will go through one by one each unit to understand the concepts which we just discussed it. In the meantime, you students can just go through on the internet to understand this particular topic in detail, so that in our future sessions you will be able to get some knowledge and get more idea about about the concepts which we will be discussing. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in our next session.